Hey guys, Marsnaken here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a proper in-depth look at the Int Demon Goddess Towa, who I think is probably one of the best of the Heroes EZAs. The EZAs this year for Heroes, I think, were definitely a mixed bag. We got units like Black Marseillan and Dabura, Super Mirror, who, from what I've used of them so far, what I've seen, kind of mid. But then we have characters like, obviously, Physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Dark Mask King, and then Towa, who are actually very, very good. So Towa was always a support unit, but they've given her quite a lot of extra abilities here, which I think make her very useful. And she, of course, still has that super clutch, like, ultimate ability, right? So she raises attack for 1 turn on super, does immense damage. Interesting for a support unit that she's doing both of those things, right? Raise attack and immense damage. She lowers attack and seals supers. Some events where that can still be relevant, so it can be useful. She gets attack and defense 180%. She gives all allies 3 key, attack and defense 40%, and then has a high chance of additional 10% attack for allies, high chance of additional 10% defense for all allies. Unfortunately, you have no way to know whether those actually procced, other than, I guess, keeping an eye on your character's stats every single turn and trying to figure out whether they are, like, depending on the other rotation, you're going to have different links active, but the numbers are going to be slightly different if they are and if they aren't. At some point in the future, it'd be really nice if they do have the update. I know we had the thing for JP with the version update where you could bring up the character's info on, like, the actual battle screen without going into the team menu. I'm not sure if it was ever confirmed that that was a thing, or if it was just people were speculating that that would show. Like, imagine if this part of her passive, when you brought her up, like, that part would actually be highlighted, like the additional 10% attack for allies, if it had actually gone off. But either way, that means she can give 50% support. She has a 50% chance to dodge as long as you're at 50% HP or more, and then she gives extreme allies 60% extra attack and defense, 50% HP recovery when HP is 50% or less once only, which was what she did before, right? That's her ultimate ability. But she now also has additional attack and defense 40% up to 120 with each attack evaded. So once she's dodged 3 times, 120% attack and defense. She has 50% chance to dodge as long as you're above the HP threshold. I obviously gave her a full dodge build. So yeah, we're going to jump in and see what we can get out of her here. I've seen turns of her with her full passive, like after she's gotten the dodges. I've seen turns of her where she actually has a lot of her links active, where she's doing like 10 million attacks now, which is kind of crazy for a support unit. So we'll see what we can get out of her here. We did bring the STR free-to-play Towa, who does have the full link set with her. So I guess we'll see. When we get that rotation, she's definitely going to look very spicy. All right, so she's getting supered. We get the dodge. Double dodge. Okay, perfect. So getting 2 dodges straight away on the first turn. She has the extra 80% to stats. This is going to be looking very good for her on the next rotation. Question number 8, the super, like, straight away. I'm getting so unlucky at the moment that I swear, like, I can spend all day, like, 23 hours of the day, my neighbors can be making no noise whatsoever, and then I'll sit down to record a video, and they immediately start whatever it is they're doing next door, like, drilling, power sawing, like, it's super annoying, because I only have certain times of the day where I can record as well. So it's, I apologize for any, like, annoying background noise and stuff that you can hear, but unfortunately there is very little that I can do about it. So, Towa has 431k defense now after having gotten 2 dodges. We do ideally want her to get 1 more, so I don't want to put her in slot 1 here where there aren't going to be any attacks. So we're going to go ahead and put her in slot 2 and see what she does here. Right, double super from the Dark Mask King, obviously good. Get us back up to full HP here. And then Towa... Actually, we got her passive on this turn, right? The full heal and big buff for everybody. So it's a bit of a shame we didn't have the turn where she had her full links and the link partner, because 5.4 is definitely nowhere near the kind of attack stats that I've seen from her, especially with her getting her mega buff for this turn. So we'll see. I think the next turn we have her going to be on rotation with the STR Tower. Oh my god, Janemba actually cannot catch a break. Like, he needs to get built up by getting a couple of hits, and then, yeah, immediately, both turns in a row, first attack of the turn on modified Janemba has been a super attack. That's crazy. All right, so this is the turn that I've been very much wanting to see. So linked up with the STR free-to-play Towa, she has all of her links active. Obviously, she's going to be getting support from Towa as well. So yeah, she's at 568k defense. Unfortunately, on that previous turn where she was getting attacked twice, she didn't actually dodge either of those attacks, which means we didn't get the extra final part of her passive build up, because obviously she could have an extra 40% attack and defense currently, but hopefully she's going to be able to dodge one of these two attacks. And there you can see 8.7. She gets a ton of extra attack power from all of these links that she shares. So there we go, finally. Okay, we got the extra dodge. Well, I suppose actually, yeah, the turn where we, on the previous turn, she'd lost her dodge chance. So to explain how part of her passive works, which is kind of an annoying interaction, is she only has the 50% chance to dodge if you have 50% or more HP at the start of the turn. So on the turn where she gives you the heal with her like special ability, it's because you're below 50% HP at the start of the turn. So then that means obviously she is not going to have that dodge chance because you were below that HP threshold. So you get the heal from her and you get the big stat buff, but she loses out on that big dodge chance potential from her passive, which obviously in some of the harder events, that could be the meaning, that could be the difference between winning and losing, right? Because her giving that extra 60% defense, whilst it's obviously really good for everybody else on the rotation, and I mean it's good for her as well to get that extra chunk of defense, but it means super attacks or attacks from some of these hardest hitting bosses that raise attack after super and stuff like that are still potentially going to deal a pretty solid amount of damage to her. So that's an interaction that you have to be very careful of, and another reason why I think the full dodge is definitely the best build for her. So, all right, so to finish off the physical Zamasu here, now we're up against the tech Zamasu and Rose, and we, of course, Towa are going to have type advantage here. She should be looking pretty good. Now, the biggest, I think, disappointment with Towa, which, I mean, I say, like, she's such a good unit. I think it's kind of hard to find a lot of faults with her. But the biggest problem with her is her links with a lot of the other units on the team. Like, she links great with that other Towa, but you're ideally going to be using them both as support units who are floating. Obviously, we're using her in more of a showcase setting, so she's staying on rotation. But she has Shattering the Limit with the Dark Mask King, and basically any of the other non-like Peppy Gals heroes units, she's only sharing maybe 2 or 3 at most links with them, which is a little bit annoying for her overall performance, although for the most part she is obviously here, like we said, to be a support unit. So say for example if we were doing this, right, she's obviously not getting any sort of buff or anything on super. That means she's got 424k defense. That's still decent for a floating support unit. And here in this event where the enemy is tech, we would be tanking the normal attacks for double-digit damage. But obviously, ideally, we would be having some more links active. I mean, you've seen the difference on that one turn that we've had so far with the STR Towa, with just how much extra attack that she does. Which, I mean, again, it's not her role on the team, but it just adds to the level of like how impressive she can be as a unit when she is a support unit who's able to drop these high attack stats and have like relatively high defense whilst also providing crazy amounts of support to the team. So, because again, like even on the non-ability turns where she gets that one-off heal and big boost, she's obviously giving potentially 50% attack and defense. Well, she actually survived that. I was going to say, very disappointing that she didn't dodge the super from them as well. But 450k, I mean, it goes to show how hard these guys hit, right? Because she's got type advantage, 450k defense. We managed to live the super barely. And then, of course, we will get the heal from full power Rose at the start of the next turn. But that leaves us a little bit sketchy here because obviously Janemba's lost his guard now. He does have 630k defense, so I don't know. Maybe he'll be okay here. He has a lot of dodge for me, but could be a little bit scary. Did I have any items? I have a Whis, but I guess to be fair, Towa is going to lose her... Towa's going to lose her passive if we don't get the Dokkan attack here, which I was kind of hoping we would with the STR orbs for Towa, but... And then, of course, I was going to say, as long as we don't get supered, Janemba will live an attack from these guys here in slot 1. So, very unlucky on the rotation here. We'll jump into another event here. Okay, so I've jumped into a different random red zone. This is Metal Cooler, which is a stage that I haven't done for a long time. We did it during the big mega stream on Saturday, Heroes versus the World, because we went through and beat like all the red zone stages. Not a stage I've done for a while, but I thought it would be something a little bit different. And we might actually be able to get a chance to get Towa fully built up and have a bit of a better showing of what she can do. It's just one of those unfortunate things, right? Like, she can definitely be used in the most difficult content, but you are going to be relying on that dodge quite a lot when it comes to some of these big bosses and either their super attacks or, as I mentioned in the first part, like these bosses that raise attack on super, so then even their normals after supering are doing some pretty solid damage. Especially with bosses like Fusion Zamasu being physical. Some, you know, Towa is going to potentially have some issues, especially if you are basically relying on dodge in those scenarios, right? But she can definitely be very good. I think, you know, you could easily get through runs of the toughest bosses in the game, potentially even like no item runs, using Towa on the team. It's just going to be one of those things, unfortunately, when it comes to characters who their entire defensive tech revolves around their dodging, and then they don't dodge like a big super or something, right? It's kind of not much you can really do at that point. That's why I think her best build is obviously full dodge. She has the 50% in her passive. If you obviously are below the 50% HP, then you have that as a backup. So I think it's probably the best way to go for her, and you should be able to see some decent stuff out of her. So hopefully here, well, she got 2 dodges on the first turn, right? So she's 2/3 of the way built up for her passive anyway. So what is she looking like here? So we've got Sharing the Limit active again, only 365k start of turn. There's a whole bunch of attacks here, but maybe I'll do this. Because if she dodges the first attack, then she'll have her full passive active for when she actually attacks. And we can see what kind of attack she does here. Of course she didn't, but she takes double digits. I mean, this guy can be attack lowered, right? So he's been attack lowered a couple of times. We're just below a 5 million attack stat here. And she didn't dodge again. Are you serious? That's the one thing that is really disappointing, obviously, with these characters that need to get built up early so that you can then be poised for them to be in a good spot in the last phase. Then obviously it's very disappointing if you're missing those dodges early on, because, you know, in a stage like this, obviously this one not particularly hard for the newer Heroes team, but we would ideally like units like her who need to get some build up. We want them to be built up by the time we actually get to Metal Cooler, right? So it's a little bit unfortunate when 2 attacks on the turn, we need 1 dodge for her to get fully built up, and then she doesn't dodge either of the attacks. But I mean, what can you do? So I think we probably will finish him off this turn, right? Just because of the amount of damage that Rose should be able to do here. Because Rose has a couple of links active. Dark Mask King gets the crit. And then, yeah, let's see. Yeah, 4.9. Not the craziest rotation from Rose, obviously. Demigra only gives defense support. So... But we do get the double super. Always good to get additional supers with Super Saiyan 3 Rose, so we can get those extra attack stats ready for when he transforms into full power, and then we can do some more damage. Will Demigra be able to get the finish here? Can he do enough? No. He's trying, though. He does greatly raise attack for one turn, so his attack stat does jump up a little bit. I think if we'd got a crit, we might actually genuinely have finished him off there, but... I suppose it is what it is, you know? So, move on to this turn here. See, the problem now is I have to put Towa in slot 1 and hope that she's going to get the dodges, because otherwise we lose out on her getting to attack at all, right? Because Janemba will just kill. So, 563 or 553 is her defense on this turn linked up with STR Towa, despite the fact that she still needs one extra dodge. Which, come on, surely you're going to get one. Okay, there we go. She gets the final dodge that she needs, and she's dropping an 11 million attack stat. Now, bear in mind as well, that's on the normal turn. So, imagine having her linked up with the other Towa on the turn where you're below 50% HP, and then she's giving a 60% buff to everybody on the rotation, including herself. So, imagine how hard she's going to be hitting on that turn. Alright, so both Rosé's transforming here. I do need to get... We're going to have the next turn is going to have Towa back. I mean, I might as well just showcase like one final rotation as of her now that her passive is fully built up. So we'll play out this turn and then we'll get the last Towa turn into the video here. Rosé just doing his thing. You love to see it. Should take this for double-digit damage. Yep. Now, bear in mind, he has like one link with the Dark Mask King as well. This is why Rosé is so good. And I talked about this on Twitter the other day of like people underrating him. Is he might not have a ton of links active with a lot of the other units on the team, but he just doesn't need them to do like to still do good stuff, right? 772k. So that's her fully built up, all of her links active because of STR Towa, and then Physical Demon Demigra gives 40% support. Like, those are the kind of stats that, like, she's just good enough to be on main rotation. And this is what I'm saying, like, her main role for the team is to be a third slot floating support unit, but, I mean, she quite easily is able to hold her own once she gets built up. And then, of course, as I said before, a big thing is coming from the links, right? Especially because I think on the Heroes team especially, or maybe the Infu, are the only other units, like the Towa units, that have Scientist, which is giving her 20% defense. Like, that is a pretty significant link, right? And then she's dropping a pretty big attack stat for a support unit. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Int Towa, definitely one of the better Heroes units. Very, very strong. But let me know what you guys think. How does she rank among the Easy A's? I think she's going to be like right there behind Dark Mask King and the Dark Mask King and Physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, obviously. I drew a complete blank on his name for a second because I was just thinking of Limit Breaker Vegito. But yeah, definitely one of the better Easy A's. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.